Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to talk about how I think Social Security will end as we know it. Now, I know that some of you are going to take issue with my negative tone or think I'm creating bad news just to get views. So if that's you, can I ask you to just stick with me for a few minutes because I want to talk about the facts here and show you some data that you may not have thought of or seen before. And after you watch all of this video, you can simply decide for yourself if my alarmist tone is justified. But before we get too far into that, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell. I don't say that just to get more subscribers to make my channel look better. Here's the deal. There's going to be some big changes to Social Security in the years ahead. I mean, the kind of changes that we're talking about today in this video. And as those changes get closer, I'll be breaking them down right here on this channel. And if you have those notifications turned on, you won't miss it. In fact, you'll find out the news not long after I do. Also, if you haven't already, be sure and download my Social Security cheat sheet. This has the most important things you need to know about Social Security, and it's all condensed down to just one page. It's completely free, and there's a link for that down in the description. So the other day, I was researching the impact of raising the maximum taxable wages. There's going to be a video coming out about that topic very soon. One of the reports I read made me realize that Social Security as we know it is headed for a disaster. Now let me back up a little bit here. When the Social Security Act became law and along with it a brand new mandatory payroll tax, there were a flurry of lawsuits that eventually made their way to the United States Supreme Court. Now ultimately, the Supreme Court ruled that the Social Security Act was constitutional and that the government did have the power to levy a new tax for a social insurance program. Now, there were a lot of people who did not support the Social Security Act when it went into effect. They found that the parallels between a far-reaching social insurance program and socialism were just too close. And they really believed that a country built on capitalism should not engage in programs that they viewed as welfare policies. Now, I'm not sure what they would say now if they could see how the system has grown. In 1940, the cost of the Social Security program was $62 million. By 2019, this had exploded to over $1 trillion. In 1940, the system only took up 0.29% of the federal budget. And by 2019, the Social Security program accounted for more than 23% of the federal budget. This will show you just how quickly a government program can grow. And now the entire system is in trouble, and it's no secret that within the next 10 to 15 years, there is going to be an across-the-board cut to Social Security benefits of 20 to 25% unless some sort of action is taken. I don't think there's anyone that disputes that now. The annual Social Security Trustees Report has been projecting this for decades now, and yet here we are, getting closer and closer to the date where benefits will have to be cut. We've said for the past few years that whoever was elected in 2020 would have the responsibility of reforming the system to make sure these cuts don't happen. Now, if you read President Biden's plan for older Americans, it sounds like he plans to do just that when he says, the Biden plan will protect Social Security for the millions of Americans who depend on the program. With Social Security trust funds already in deficit and expected to be exhausted in 2035, we urgently need action to make the program solvent and prevent cuts to American retirees. Now, I like the sound of that, but now let's talk about how he plans to accomplish this much needed fix. And let me warn you, it's not pretty. He plans to increase the maximum taxable earnings by creating a donut hole approach. With this plan, the current maximum would stay in place. And once an individual's earnings exceeded $400,000, their earnings would again be subject to the Social Security tax. And these additional payroll taxes would not be counted towards a future benefit. So if you make $750,000, your future Social Security benefit would be credited the same as someone who made less than $150,000. Now, I think that's pretty ugly, but that's not the worst part of this. Increasing the payroll tax isn't all Biden wants to do with the Social Security system. He also wants to increase benefits. His plan includes things like increasing survivors' benefits, increasing the special minimum benefit, eliminating the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset, updating the calculation that determines the annual cost of living adjustment, which will effectively make it more generous, and then finally giving a benefit increase to anyone who's received benefits over a certain period of time. And all of those changes come with a cost, a very high cost. In fact, the cost of the benefit increases would nearly wipe out the increased revenue from the payroll tax increase. The Urban Institute, a think tank that says they're nonpartisan, but they do generally lean to the left, said Biden's plan would extend the life of the program's trust fund by 5 years to 2040. This means that in 2040, benefits would again be faced with an across-the-board cut in the 20 to 30% range. So we have the biggest tax increase in history to the Social Security system. We break the connection between taxes paid in and benefits received, and what do we get? 5 years. What then? This is scary. If they've already raised taxes on the wealthy, will that really be an option again? I really don't know what the next step would be as 2040 and mandatory benefit cuts start to get closer. They'll be using all the bullets in their gun to increase benefits instead of fixing the system. The liberal politicians have been salivating for years to increase payroll taxes. They've told us over and over and over that this is the solution for fixing the program permanently. They've said that the Social Security system wouldn't have a problem if everyone would only pay their fair share. And now they have the chance, and they're going to blow it. So just know this. When you hear about Biden's increase to the maximum taxable wage and his Social Security reform plan, it'll be advertised as a fix for Social Security. But make no mistake about it, this is not designed to fix the program. It's designed to expand the program. We're still going to have a really big problem with Social Security, except now they're not going to be able to raise a massive amount of new tax revenue through tax increases on the rich. These tax increases, even on rich people, are subject to limits. So as I sit here today, I really don't know what options there will be to fix this before 2040. And if any of you have suggestions, I'd really love to hear it in the comments below. But I suspect this will be where Social Security as we know it comes to an end. I suspect that the system of the future is going to be one that looks more like a welfare program where it's means tested and awarded based on need alone. But let me be clear on this. I don't want there to be any misunderstanding. I don't think that this means Social Security goes away completely. I don't think that this is a reason to do something rash like file early for benefits. I don't think it's likely to impact anyone who's retired or probably those who are close to it. But I do think for those who are younger and plan to save on their own for retirement, you probably need to do that without considering Social Security. I think that's going to be very important. One thing is for sure, as this develops, I'll be right here breaking down all the ins and outs so you'll know the whole story. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit that notifications bell, because if you're subscribed, again, you'll know what's going on not long after I do. Hey, one last thing before we go too. If you get the opportunity, would you mind sharing this channel with a friend? The easy way to do that is just tell them to go to youtube.com/Devin Carroll. Thank you so much for sharing it, and thank you so much for watching.